Hello, everybody, wherever you may be, from coast to coast and sea to shining sea. Welcome back to the Shack. It's Ham Radio Live. Thank you so much for coming. You requested it, and here he is. It is Callum McCormick, Mr. DX Engineer. Yep, you're going to learn about antennas today, and in a very, very good way. Callum is the best there is, the very best there is at teaching people about YouTube, about antennas, about all kinds of things. Yes, he is. I think you're going to love the show. I really do. He's one of those guys that you're just grateful to have time with and enjoy and, just have a ball with. So, strap up those seatbelts. Get yourself ready for a fun show today with Callum McCormick, Mr. DX Engineering, all the way from the UK. We're grateful to have him. Ladies and gentlemen, from Oregon. My name's Larry, and my call sign is Kilo 7 Hotel November. From the four winds of the world, wherever you may be. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Shack. My father-in-law, Bill, Kilo November 6, India Ocean Papa. We have sent a link to Cal, so he's got it on his email now. Unfortunately, that's the best I could work with. Folks, we're going to help you get an amateur radio. That's the whole point of what we do. If you'd like to get in, the best way is to contact a radio club, a national one, okay? Someone like the Radio Society of Great Britain. Hit the Contact Us bar. They'll help you get licensed in amateur radio, and by doing so, they're going to find you a local radio club. Hit them up at www.rsgb.org. They'll help you get licensed into ham radio, okay? Let's go into it. From DX Engineering, Callum McCormick, welcome to the show. I think we can hear you now, mate. We're going to help you get an amateur radio. That's the whole point of what we do. If you'd like to get
just to say, it's not DX Engineering.
I said DX Engineering. Sorry, man. I'm trying to send you links and trying to do things by Zoom.
You did really well.
We're doing things differently here today, mate. Sorry, this is all different for me now. So welcome to the show, DX Commander from the UK, and we're grateful to have you, Cal. Thank you for coming.
Lovely. I can see you on the screen, and I can see the... I can see the live chat, which is important to me, you know.
Yep. Andy Bronson, Mike 7, X-Ray Tango Tango. Woohoo! We are back. Welcome, Andy. It's great to have you. Also, my brother Bob, courtesy of WIFI. Welcome.
Yeah. Hi, Andy.
Cal.
So,
go ahead.
Okay. So this is our second attempt. The first one went a bit wrong because of audio. So let's just ask Andy. Andy, I just want to make sure you can hear me okay, if that's all right.
Yeah, let's make sure you can hear Callum okay. We had a little bit of...
it might take 20 seconds to come through, but just give us a signal report.
A little bit of a hiccup earlier today.
Yeah,
Kevin, welcome.
All right. It's
Kilo Charlie 3.
Live, isn't it?
It is.
We
Kilo
were talking
Charlie
about
3.
visualizing stuff, Larry, and you put a really good question to me on our false start, if you know what I mean, which is I visualized myself being a full-ticketed amateur radio operator, and that's fine. Just read in a live chat, make sure we're all going fine.
Yep.
And I was saying that as a young man, I wanted to drive a car. So I visualized myself driving a car, what it would be like to drive to my friend's house on my own, things like that. So when it came to actually taking my test, I was extremely motivated. I'd read the book, I'd done my instruction, I'd, taken some sort of fake tests, if you know what I mean. And that really helped me. And a lot of people say who are maybe on CB or they've got a technician's or a foundation license in Australia and the UK, they are fearful, I think, sometimes of going up market, of going to the intermediate or the general, extra, full, all these different... Every country's got its own way, isn't it?
Yep.
And so what I did, because rather than being worried about it, because what does it cost me to take the test? $20 or $30 or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll visualize myself as this radio amateur that I always wanted to be. And when you visualize it, it gives you the extra motivation. So when you're going through the books, you're watching the videos and whatever else, you've got that extra drive. Why am I doing this? Because if you're just doing it like, for instance, I wanted to learn Russian. So I bought this Russian I mean, it was a lot of money. I just thought it'd be cool because you hear the Russians on the radio sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
They got 20,000 watt
Watts.
amplifiers, and
Yeah, no
200-foot towers.
No joke.
Yeah, that's right. And you hear these. And wouldn't it be great to, say, things like, "How old is your sister?" or whatever, right?
Is she available? I've
Yeah.
got some sons.
What is she wearing now?
That's
I don't know. Larry knew what he was getting into when he invited me on the show.
Yes, I did. Too much. Absolutely.
But anyway, because I wasn't actually that motivated behind it. I never did it, right? Because I couldn't visualize myself that often on the radio talking to a Russian, right? So, but I really wanted this full ticket. Now, to be honest, I don't believe, well, for a start off, the world over, when you get your full ticket to become, I mean, I'm talking to the top, advanced, full, extra, whatever you want to call it, whichever country you're in. If I took the test today, I'm not quite sure I would even pass it, to be honest.
Yep. It's changed.
That's right. The only reason you get this ticket, what they're doing is they're saying, you know enough that you're not going to...
Yeah. Yeah.
You know enough that you're not going to cause interference.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That's it.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, that's it, right?
Yeah,
So you're not going to kill anybody. What you're going to do is now you're going to start your learning.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting. The RCB test, which I've taken a few times, I've looked at both. The RCB test is really a lot of safety. It really is, especially in the foundation part. They talk a lot about not burning your shack down and not shocking yourself and so forth and so on. But
it is.
It's such a, then as you go up to intermediate and full, it really starts getting technical. And, you made a comment that I really admired. You said, I'm not the guy for your intermediate or full stuff. That's just not my thing. I'm not gifted in that way. And I love that comment because it's humility. That's, I think, the most special part of your channel. Did you ever think you'd do YouTube?
No, good Lord, no. We had, I got it here, hang on.
Live with Callum McCormick from DX Commander.
So, I really got to sell this because, I mean, it's an amazing camera. So this is a Canon EOS 5D Mark III. I mean, in its day, this camera must have been $2,500. Still got it. And Larry's got a lovely butt, hasn't he? And
oh, you caught me. I'm trying to get the speakers up so my father-in-law can hear a little bit of the show.
Oh, don't worry, it's fine. But because I'd discovered, I don't like using the word invent. I like discovered. I discovered a DX Commander, the multiple element thing, and I put this kit together. And then, I mean, I was just bootlegging my time because Wendy and I owned this other company, and she used to get really annoyed at me, actually. I'd be down the workshop packing little DX Commanders up. In the old days, it was a really crappy kit, actually. Mm-hmm. But it works, you see, and that's why people were buying them. But anyway, the only way I could get noticed is by putting an eBay advert together. So I put this eBay advert together, and I recorded everything on my 5D Mark III.
Wow.
Yeah. But I put this video together, this one video, which has had over 100,000 views now.
Wow.
Of what is a DX Commander, And by the way, it's quite an interesting story. I had a guy working for me called Gerald. Mm-hmm. So Jed, I picked him up out of, basically, he left school. It was fairly technical. He had a 12,000 YouTube channel at like 14, 15, and he was earning.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was but it was all to pathetic kid stuff, And he's quite a nice looking lad, so I think, it was mostly girls actually on his channel. But he was earning about, must have been at least $1,000 a month.
At 14?
Yeah.
My
off his
gosh.
YouTube channel.
Wow.
But this is 10 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of introduced me to YouTube. And what I used to do is take the footage, give it to him, because I employed him, and say, make me a video out of this, will you?
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, I taught Gerald. I just called him Jed. I used to take him to business meetings. I used to get him to sit in on business meetings. I literally taught him how to shake a man's hand, or a lady's hand for that matter, how to polish his shoes, how to tie a tie. Not joking. I taught Jed this.
Wow.
How to network a room, because we do a lot of business functions.
Sure.
How to network a room. And then when he went to the BBC for his interview, because once a year the BBC take 10 young people on their fast track management apprenticeship thing, and they get thousands of applications. But he came first.
Wow.
So I didn't know this. He was telling me he wanted a day off to go down to YouTube in London, but actually he was attending these interviews. Sometimes he would go down to YouTube in London and you do a little collaboration with someone else,
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, Jed, he got this job. He works for the director of BBC Three. That's the channel.
Wow.
It's an online channel.
Mm-hmm.
He's a strapping young lad now, beautifully proportioned, fit, and so on. But I've had some lovely texts from him as he's, attended award ceremonies and everything. And he said, I couldn't have done this without you, Callum. That's lovely,
my.
isn't it?
Wow.
But he taught me the value of YouTube. So I never wanted a YouTube channel. And I thought, to be honest, if 1,000 people came along on the journey, I mean, what an amazing
Absolutely right.
that would be.
Yep, I feel the same way. Yep.
So I did this, filmed this, how to build a DX Commander or something, which was far too long. It's like 22 minutes. It's full of baloney, really. I could have done that in 5 minutes now.
Yep.
With the edit.
Sure.
Because I didn't know what I was doing,
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, people just started following my channel, so I thought I'll do another one. I'll tell you the one I liked. Is how to visualize DBs with a balloon.
Very interesting.
So I haven't got one here, but I had a one breath balloon, like 1 dB. Right? There's your 100 watt. That's your 100 watt rig. One breath. Okay. Now, so you double the power to 200 watts. Okay. There's not much in it.
Right.
Because it's gone everywhere.
Yep.
So 400, another 3 dB to 400 watts is going to be another 2 breaths, actually. Or 1 breath, isn't it? Because Anyway, I did this video, and it was one of my first sort of big productions. It's about 10 minutes,
That's very creative. Where I've got to ask you, where did bananas come from?
Okay.
The bananas. It's a great, for people that don't know, Callum would talk about DB, but he'd say, no, it's not DB. Let's just think of bananas.
Okay. So all manufacturers, when they talk about their antenna, they've got this fantastic antenna, and it has a gain of 8 squillion dBi or something else.
Yeah.
No manufacturer generally tells you where is that height, because if you got it on a 200-foot tower, because I'm not going to achieve this,
right.
Where's the rest of the dynamics? Because when you look at far field plots for real,
yep,
and you understand how a far field plot works, and what if you really had these RF glasses,
right? Yeah, yep.
Where the RF's going. So what you have to do is you build a standard antenna, and for me, that's just a quarter wave, ground mounted with 16 radios on the ground. Just put it on the ground. And how well will it perform? Well, if you measure, you see, all this comes, how did we get to bananas? I'll come to.
Okay.
All this comes down to the fact that most of the propagation that we're hearing, long haul stuff, is certainly under 20 degrees, right? Now,
Absolutely.
it's really easy to get any antenna to perform quite well at 20 degrees off the horizon.
Yep.
As you bring it down, it gets tougher and tougher and tougher for whatever reason. So if you measure it at the worst possible outcome, which for me is like 5 degrees off the horizon, just keep measuring there. So you don't con yourself that you've got this and I say measuring, I'm measuring in software at the minute.
Right.
You measure it at 5 degrees off the horizon. Yeah, sure, it's always going to perform better at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, up to about 22 normally, depending on the height above ground, all sorts of other variables. And once I was quite deep into a video, and I said, forget the fact that it's decibels. We'll just call them, and I just happened to say bananas, right? Just call them bananas. So that one's -6, this one's +3, bananas. Because it was all relative, and we didn't need to, because I don't pretend I'm like some professor.
Right.
You know,
Yep.
I've got all sorts of weird and wonderful conditions, mentally, you know. So let's just do it in bananas. And I put it on my Instagram feed today. We were in an art gallery and they were selling this. It'd done 25 prints of this beautiful picture, which was a monkey and a banana. And it says, it's all bananas. We bought the picture and today I actually put it up.
Oh, that's great.
In the workshop in my office.
That's great. That's great. We're live with Callum McCormick.
Boss, that
So
man,
just,
top dog,
having a look
big
down.
cheese, a head honcho.
DK50NV, Uncle Bill. That's
Yeah,
right.
yep.
Is
Andy
that
Bronson.
Uncle Gunter? Is
Yep,
that Uncle
Gunter in
Gunter?
Germany.
I can't remember. That's
Yep,
right.
DK50NV. Got a great question from Andy Bronson, Mike 7 X-Ray Tango Tango. Actually, he says as a comment, my expedition, non-permanent apparently, has been up nearly 3 years now in all storms and only half-mile from the beach and still going strong. He says, but he still wants the 12-meter signature kit. That's Andy in the UK.
Oh, the 12 meter is going to be amazing. So, again, I did a video last Friday, Larry, about a test. I was given. I ordered 10 prototype fiberglass poles of the 10 meter variety, which is basically the middle to top section of the 18 meter, what we call the nebula.
Yep.
And that's going fine. I didn't concrete. I put an aluminium tube in the ground. I slipped this over, and it'd be non-guide. It's just going to sit there, and it's been sitting there a week now, and it's perfectly happy. I'll give it another couple of months, and that's a long-term project. That'll be next autumn, by the time that product is launched, which is a replacement for. Well, it's not a replacement. The original classic. Now, Larry, you've got one of my antennas.
I
forget
do.
which one
It's
it is.
the best antenna I have. Yep. It's been up for now 18 and a half months. And we had, in February, we had the worst ice storm here. It was 3/4 of an inch of ice. It was knocking power lines, trees, fences, everything down. And your
Right.
antenna, bent at 90 degrees at the top, did not snap. I was able to shake it and get the rest of the ice off, and the thing stands perfectly straight. It's
Okay,
an
fine.
unbelievable antenna.
So is that the classic?
Yes.
Yeah. So what I'm doing is I've got a tougher. It's actually less diameter, but a heavier wall thickness.
Okay.
In 10 meters.
Okay.
So that's going to be non-guide. You'll put a pole in the ground, bit of concrete maybe. I just bashed mine straight in the ground.
Sure.
And but that's just shelve that a minute. But I have got 300 12-meter poles coming, and the idea for that, and I haven't done the development yet, but I've placed the order, so it's better blooming work.
Joke.
I'm going to put an 80-meter, probably with a coil, just above the halfway point, where most of the elements stop apart from 40 and 80.
Sure.
I'll put a coil. The customer will wind it. They'll just go round and round a pole a few times. I'll just tell them go around 28 times or something, bit of tape or some heat shrink or something, and they'll go right to the top. And that'll give them 80 meters and be center loaded.
Yep.
So that's quite a heavy. It's quite a heavy antenna actually. So that's the reason I've got the 300 up, because I've got 50 odd in stock, but they'll be the UK version because they are that much over length.
Oh.
That costs me £40, about $50 extra
just to ship
ship
to
that
US.
much more.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. Want to welcome Kevin, Kilo Charlie 3, Oscar November, Oscar. Welcome. Also, Mike Galloway in Massachusetts, Kilo Delta 1, Hotel Foxtrot. Nikolai is a new ham, and he is in Romania, Callum. Brand new ham.
Wow.
Yep. He's a
So
really
it'll be a
young
Yankee
kid.
Ocean, Yankee Oscar call sign.
Yep.
Romania.
And he's really, really strong, building his repertoire and learning. John Hummel Newell, another new ham. Victor Echo 5, Juliet Hotel November from Saskatchewan says hello to you as well. As Gunter, DK5ONV, and Cliff Bolts, Whiskey Delta 4, Oscar Bravo Papa from Virginia. You guys, thanks for shining today on the show. Appreciate you coming. We're live with Callum McCormick from DX Commander Antennas. He has done it and built up a great company and done a remarkable job. He's really humble, and that's the best part of his channel, really is. Also, welcome Mike 7, Union Echo Lima, and VK Radio Ham makes the third continent. Victor Kilo 3, Golf Echo Kilo. Thank you for coming. Mike Oswald as well. I think we cleared everybody up. Thank you. He says, good afternoon to you. Welcome to the Balloon and Banana Show. Well done. There you go. You got yours in, Mike. Good job. The Balloon and Banana Show. That's great. Wow.
So, Larry, let me ask you a question. Are we live on YouTube and other platforms as well?
No, we're just YouTube right now.
Yeah, okay, fine.
Yeah,
lovely.
sorry, mate.
And is that a geochron in the background?
It is, yeah. It's
Behind your-
not the 2.0. It's the original Atlas 4K.
Okay. It's the 4K version?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Oh, wait, is there a newer one now?
Yeah, they put out a newer one now. It's the 2.0. I guess it has some upgradable features and a little more guts in the side of it. So the thing is just, it's smaller than a phone, than a miniature small phone. It's amazing. Also, Steve Austin just joined us from Liverpool. Mate, good to see you. Mike 7, Bravo Yankee Foxtrot. Thanks for coming.
M7 BYF.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Cliff, by the way, in Virginia says, my Classic is doing a great job. Thank you, Callum. I can't agree more. It's the best antenna I have. It just works, man.
I get... you say I'm humble. I don't know if I'm humble. I tell you what's humbling, though, is when I get big, experienced ham radio operators with 100-foot towers and stuff. I had one guy, big station in Europe, and he put up a DX Commander for the second station.
Okay.
Because they had some tower problem and they wanted an emergency antenna. So they put a DX Commander. So they got this mega station and another mega station, but only with a DX Commander.
That's humbling right there. That is.
And he said, one, he saved $20,000, and two, there was nothing in it, really. There was a guy who used to run Hex Beam. This is about 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago. He ran a Hex Beam CQ worldwide, and then next year, his tower failed. It was a relatively modest station, but it was about a 45-foot tower.
Sure.
And he put a DX Commander in from, I tell you where he was in a little island called Guernsey. So that would be a Mike uniform or Golf uniform call sign.
Yep.
He got a higher score on his DX Commander in worse conditions than he did on his Hex Beam at 45 feet.
Yep, I believe it. It's just a great takeoff angle antenna.
Now, yeah. You see, the thing is, let's just talk about contests a minute. A lot of people hate contests, and some days I honestly do myself. What contests are good for is relatively understanding how well an antenna really works
Totally
in a
agree.
competitive environment.
Yep, totally agree.
That's all. So it's a bit like your radio. You think, take a TS2000. I've got one. I love it, right?
Yep.
And I used to have it in the car, but we used it on a field day once. Region 1 field day, Region 2 field day. It's where we're competing with the Germans, right?
Yeah.
And some of the German stations, they are a perfect hop for the UK, right?
Okay.
So if you are less than 3 kilohertz away from one of the big Germans, you got to move. And everybody's in our world, between about 7 on 40 meters, between 7.1 and 7.2.
2, yep.
You can only get like 30 stations, really.
Exactly.
High power stations.
Exactly.
Unless you've got a K3 with all the filters. This is going back a bit now. But a TS2000 that we were just getting decensed. It was literally you'd be talking to someone and the needle would go, well, watching from you.
Oh yeah.
The needle would just go, and the radio goes silent.
Yep.
What is going on here?
That's fine. That's funny. I got a question here from Andy Bronson. It's important. Mike 7 X-Ray Tango Tango. He says he still thinks Cal should take the world by storm and design and produce the D-Hex Commander Hex beam.
Yeah.
Come on, Cal. You know you want to.
I haven't got the capacity. You got to remember, I'm 62 years old. I know Mr. Honda didn't start making his first motorcycle until he was 48.
Really?
And in fact, Ross Perot in America, when he sold EDS for billions, he was, I think, 78 when he started Perot Systems. But he had, some people around him that wanted it, and he had a particular vision. But you got to remember, my vision is, we were talking about how to pass a ham radio license, how to pass your driving test, in a car. So what is my vision? My vision is I've got 1,000 square feet. I've got my son, me, and Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want any more.
Yeah.
So I have a product that I've got some people that have signed an NDA, and we're working on that. It's a long-term product, which will be a killer, by the way. It really will. It's not a hex beam, right? Now, Anthony, who owns Hexbeam UK or something, I can't remember. In fact, one of my companies runs his website.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, honestly. Just to buy a quirk. James, my business partner, he does all the development and stuff. In fact, I've got a new website in the wings, Larry, but I've been too busy to put it live. So I'm running on something that looks about 20 friggin' years old.
I get you. Want to welcome Anton from the Netherlands, Papa Charlie 4 Alpha Delta. Thank you for joining us today.
Anton.
Mike Oswald. I put up my DX Commander up last week, and I love it. It is so quiet. On Transmit, I've been able to reach out much farther than before with my other vertical. Thanks, Callum. Alpha 7, Mike Oscar.
That's lovely.
And then Steve Austin in Liverpool said he's going to be ordering one next week. So he's looking forward to buying his first DX Commander.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, bro.
So so we're talking about how contests stress equipment. So it stressed my TS2000. Looking back, I should have wound down the RF game, done a few other things. But in the heat of the moment, you don't know.
But we learned from that.
How to do it.
We learned, right?
Yeah. But it stresses your equipment, which is why if you did 12 hours on CQ World last year on antenna A, and you did 12 hours on CQ Worldwide or WPX, 6 months later or a year later, and it over a 12-hour period. I'm not talking about 3 DX entities you've been trying all year. I'm talking about just stressing it.
Yeah.
Then you can really get a fit. Actually, CQ Worldwide this weekend, isn't it?
Yeah.
So last weekend.
The last one of October. Yep.
Yeah, last weekend.
Yep.
So I'm going to probably do an 80 for. I'm going to do I won't do top band, but I'll do an all band.
I've got a question for you on that too. We'll talk about it. Before I do that, I want to welcome Ian Justice, Papa Alpha Zero, Romeo November. Man, folks, my tongue is tied today, and I apologize. Ian, welcome. Papa Alpha Zero, Romeo November Hotel in the Netherlands. Thank you. Says going to be using his DX Commander this coming weekend. Tom in Bahrain, Alpha 92 Golf Whiskey. Cheers, Cal. Always a pleasure. I have learned a lot from your channel. Callum, when you hear comments like that, and you didn't think of doing a YouTube channel, how does it make you feel?
I went to see a friend of mine. Well, he's not a friend of mine. He's an idol, actually. A fella called Professor Brian Cox. Now, Brian used to be in a music band, actually, but he was always a bit of a scientist, and he got a professorship, or whatever it's called. I'm not quite sure. And there was 12,000 people in the arena.
Wow.
In Birmingham. And at that time, we had about 11,500 subscribers when Wendy and I went to see this. And Wendy said, how many subscribers you got? I said, I don't know, 11 and a half of them. He He said, well, this is 12,000. And I thought, every one of those people, because we're up to 39,650 or something right now, one by one, people have thought to themselves, I want to keep in touch with this guy. I want to see what else he does.
Sure.
And they've physically clicked the subscribe button. So I worked that out. So my channel is 4 years this month, really. I mean, the channel's about 13 years old or something silly like that, and I've uploaded odds and ends,
Yeah.
you know, just like anybody does. But I started to commit 4 years ago. That is, I think, something like one person an hour.
Isn't that amazing? That's very
Forever.
humbling, man.
Forever.
Seriously.
You know, it's incredible.
Yep. Papa Charlie 4 Alpha Delta Anton from the Netherlands on the DX Classic J5T in phone on 12 meters last weekend. One call and work then. Guinea-Bissau barefoot. Congratulations on a great call. That's a really good call. Yeah, really good. Gunter in Germany, DK50 and V, was happy as Mike Foxtrot meeting Lord Callum on the air a few weeks ago. That's neat.
Yeah, we're going to be on the air again.
That's really cool. Do you enjoy doing the CQ shows where you're live?
Live streaming on the radio.
Yeah.
I live for that. Actually, the rest of it is padding. I know it sounds funny.
That's great. That's great. The rest is all padding.
The rest of it is padding. But I discovered by accident that I was quite a good pile-up operator. I had some good training.
I would agree. Yep.
I had good training. For instance, I was invited onto the team GB5HQ, I think it was. It was the UK. It was it was very complicated. Distributed. It was about 10, 12 years ago, where there would be an 80-meter team, a 40-meter team, and it was the International Amateur Radio Union World Contest Championships. But the same weekend, each country puts a team on. So the RSGB, DARC in Germany.
Yep. I
think they always normally win it. And we run, you know, there was a 10-meter team. Well, all the contest bands, you know, from 160 upwards, up to 10. And I was part of the 80-meter team. In fact, with a fellow called Lee, G0MTN, and another guy. And it was 24 hours.
Wow.
And Lee taught me, so he would have the other pair of headphones on, and we were on 80 meters, and we were getting squeezed by a guy like a kilohertz away. Mm-hmm. And then normally I'd go, to hell with this. I'm not making any contacts because this guy's right on me. Yep. I'd try and go up a kilohertz, but then I would lose the space I've just got.
Yep.
Because this guy was scratching me. He would move up as well because maybe he was being rammed. You see.
Oh boy. Yep.
And Lee used to say, "Just hold it there. Just hold it there." Because in the end, we had a cracking frequency, and for us on 80 meters, a cracking frequency on big contest bands right at the top of the band. So it'd be 3789, 3791.
Yep. Right
at the top before it clicks over to 38. You see.
Yep.
And and he told me to hold that slot. After 45 minutes of this, I said, "Oh, Lee, this is so painful for me." Mm-hmm. The guy who was also holding out all hope that I would move gave up.
There you go, Cal. There you waited him out. Well done, buddy.
Yeah, I did.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then another time, I learned from that, and we did a big entry actually. So this was 2009, 10. James and I and a fellow called Terry. I was the group scout leader at the time, and the scout hut down at the bottom of the road here has this big field out the back, and we got sanction from the park authority to put up our antennas.
That's good.
Anytime we wanted. 100-foot towers, the lot. We had a permanent mega loop, 160-meter loop with a 4-to-1 balun, which was fantastic on all bands, actually. About 70, 80 feet in the air. Mm-hmm. Hard-drawn copper wire, tensioned up, this big triangle. And anyway, we put up an A3S at 100 feet, which is a tri-bander from Cushcraft. That gave us 20, 15, and 10. And then above that, we had 4 what was to become eventually DX Commander poles. 4 poles, which was a 2-element Yagi. It drooped down like this.
Really?
There's a picture of that, I think, on my Instagram feed. And
You
that was a
have
2-element Yagi V40. Then on the top of that, there was a cross. It was 2 dipoles for 80 metres, because we worked out that was about 135 feet. And at that height, you've got gain perpendicular to your elements.
Yes.
And the trouble is, the one to the US, which for us is about 300, 310, Canada, Montreal up to 320 at night time, would give us the null for Brazil, Venezuela, Chile,
Sure,
all the stuff south. So we put a pair of dipoles for 80 metres, 135 feet, on one of those rotator bearings. So as our main tower twisted, the dipoles at the top stayed still.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Man, I started on like Monday, and I think we were finished by Friday. Most of it was installed by Thursday. 300 metres of RG, well, it's 1,000 feet of RG 213 for the low bands.
Oh, man.
And I bought it all, because we weren't in a club then. James and I just used to share the cost. Anyway, a guy, I can't remember who it was now, a guy from Canada flew over to run the 20-metre station, and he ran kind of daytime. We had a schedule. You do 4 hours on, 6 hours off. There was 5 operators. And, you do a 40, a 20, a 10.
Yeah, and 4 hours is a long time, man. Yeah. That's a long time.
This is a multi-2 station, which technically is one of the most complex stations you can build, because you never know where the other guy's going. You could be on 80, you could be on 40, you could be on 80 or 20. So you're filtering. We had little boxes that did filtering, but we had these massive. James built them all with 88 PL259s and SO239s and what they call stub filters. So we had nearly 100 dB of isolation between bands. So even though the 40-meter Yagi was only about 8 feet away from 20 meters,
sure, I
could be on 7.15, and on the second harmonic, you could hear on 14,300, you would be able to hear that station, but about an S7. Bear in mind, we were doing 1,500 watts on all bands.
Brilliant.
S7. You move a kilohertz away, he's gone. Anyway.
Wow.
So
wow.
We're talking about stressing stuff and understanding. So, and we had a pair of K3s. For
Great transceiver.
Hours.
Great transceiver.
Great transceiver. I just didn't like the front panel, right? Yeah. And I still don't.
And anyway. Raleigh loves his ZL1 BQD. Yeah. Raleigh's good with his.
Yeah. So KX3. Yeah. So it's just a big one, or bigger. It's about the size of a 9700, I suppose.
Yeah.
We got the 2 VFOs, and I found a place at the top between a German and a Russian, and there was only 1.5 kilohertz between the two. But what you can do, because the US phone for the generals and stuff start at 3.8 and go up, I think, right, on 80 meters.
That's correct.
So what I'd do is, it was the last 45 minutes, 1 hour of the contest. It'd gone dark. I knew it was dark in New York and Newfoundland and stuff. So I thought we could take a battering on, get some extra points. So I went between the German and the Russian. And I started calling CQ, right? Listening, I remember the frequency, 3.826. Okay, 3826, listening on the other VFO. Anyway, but I listened on 3798 as well,
Sure.
Because I had one frequency there, the other frequency in there.
Yep.
Anyway,
that's great.
I knew I was being a bit naughty.
That's
funny. But I was getting calls, Victor Echoes, W's.
Yep.
In here,
getting the zeros and the ones,
giving them numbers. The German and the Russian went. I'm not going to swear. They were not happy.
That's great. That's great. Oh my gosh! Live with Callum McCormick.
Forever, That's the one time where I thought I was a rotten sod. Do you know what I mean? I really think if I could do my time again, I wish I should have made a note of the call sign. I would have written them a letter, honestly. I felt really bad about it. But I really wasn't interested. I was just interested in my transmit, I'll just transmit here. The fact I was getting called on this other frequency, that's fine. Of course, they could hear me going, Victor Echo 2 HBC, you're 59, 1,460 or whatever, some massive number we were giving out. And they're thinking I couldn't hear the guy. So they gradually, and that's what you can do. They gradually moved, 100 whiskers that way.
Yeah, exactly.
You can actually carve a slot for yourself.
That's great.
It takes. You've got to be a bit horrible though, to be honest. And if they're using an original FT1000 MP with no in-rad filters, they're gone.
They're in trouble.
Or TS2000 or something. Which, back to the contesting, you think you've got a great rig until you try and midnight UTC Friday night just tune on 40 meters. See if you can find a gap. You'll never find one, I promise you.
Yep, you're right.
You got to be really. You've just got to go. Okay, I'm going to accept that the background noise is now S9 plus 10.
That's right. That's right.
I'm going to call CQ. But there was one Sunday night or Saturday night, I was listening, and there was a guy, and the contest guys were so polite. There was a guy very quietly, I'll call him, what's Anton's call sign? PC4AD.
Yeah.
There was a guy gently calling, hello, Papa Charlie 4 Alpha Delta, CQ over. Right, and there was a massive contest guy there and a massive contest. And they let him just play CQ here, and he was, "You're 509. My name is Anton. Nice to meet you." Running, I think he was doing 1,000 watts or something. But
that's great. Live with Callum McCormick, DX Commander. I warned you. We're going to blow YouTube apart. Andy Bronson with a nice comment here from the UK. He says, Cal, you're young at 62. For goodness sakes, you're just a spring chicken. That's a pretty nice compliment. Thank you. That's very nice. Also, Ian, thanks for joining us in the Netherlands. Also, a nice comment here from Anton, Papa Charlie 4 Alpha Delta, on the DX Classic. Did really well on that. This is cool. The Guinea-Bissau barefoot. That's a neat expedition.
Yeah,
and to make that call is really special.
I've
got a
never
question
heard of
for
it.
you.
It must be good.
Yeah, from Nikolai in Romania. He's a young ham. Says, my question for DX Commander, what advice do you have for a beginner? Got my license 7 months ago, but I still have to buy my own equipment. That's a tough question.
It is. Larry, and because you need operating experience. So you've got your dipole, G5RV, whatever else. I think I've got two really nuggets. Here we are. One is you just need to operate in a fairly relaxed environment. Now, for me, Saturday mornings was always open to Germany because between the UK and Germany, there's a nice little, I don't know what it is, 400 miles or something. Perfect for 40 metres. So you always get, I was I'd say young man, 45, 46, very keen, I'd CQ or I'd hear a CQ. Inevitably, it was a German. Sometimes a Papa Alpha as well. Or not so much the French, that's a little bit too close for 40. Mm-hmm. And I would just practice talking to other people, giving out my name, QTH, what antenna I was using, things like that. And maybe I did 2,000 or 3,000 contacts on a Saturday morning because I was a working guy.
Wow.
Yeah, not every Saturday morning, obviously,
Sure.
But over the course of, I'd do 30 or 40 contacts as a new ham with my 10 watts on a Saturday. It'd take me 2-3 hours, whatever. So that's the first. But I used to get jealous because I could hear on 20 meters shit going on,
Yep.
But I couldn't get out very well. So my next bit of advice is I couldn't get on 80 anyway. a lot of people worry, and actually, to be honest, a DX Commander spoils people.
Yes.
When they get on it, it really does.
Amen.
And I'm not, because if you'd given me a DX Commander, I wouldn't have known what to do. Oh my God, it works everywhere. What do I do? Where do I start?
Yep.
I'd say if you're first starting out, get yourself some cheap wire, measure a couple of 9.5 metre legs, fairly low to the ground, 16 feet, 4 metres, something like that.
Sure.
And get on Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, whenever the skip's in, for that 300, 400 miles. So if you're, I know I can't, sort of Newfoundland to New York, probably sort of, I don't know quite what the map's doing, but it's 400 miles, what you could drive in a day.
Sure.
Sort of thing, And just go single band. Go single band.
Yep.
Stop worrying about all the other bands.
And
the
learn.
trouble is with a DX Commander, it gives you everything all at once, quite good. All right?
Yep. Yep.
You haven't got a 60-foot tower with a 3-element Yagi where you can you can't pinpoint, but you can, oh gosh, I can hear this guy now. You're new. You're not going to have an amplifier. You're new. You haven't got an amplifier, so all of a sudden you're in competition with all the big guns, particularly 20 metres. That is quite a competitive environment on 20.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot of guys with high gain running amplifiers.
Yep.
If you want to play on 20, I'd go above 14.3.
Yes.
And where the sort of low power guys,
Yep.
just regular Joes.
That's
they
right.
muck around there. You'll hear a little CQs, maybe 17 metres. There's some big guns on 17, though.
Yes, there are.
But
You can get some great DX on 17 and 15. I mean, both.
you can.
But
You
boy, 20 is tough because everybody's there.
Yeah. And the other thing, maybe the third bit of advice is you have to call CQ. And by the way, I've had a lot of emails and comments to some of my videos going, oh, I call CQ and nobody comes back. So the worst live stream ever, I think I did 3 hours and got 5 contacts with a 100-watt radio. And I was looking for DX in the middle of the night it was 40.
Okay.
It took like an hour before the first guy came.
Yep. I've had that happen too, Cal. It's tough when you're live because you've got a short amount of time and you've got to make a call. And it's hard to do that in a short amount of time.
But imagine if you're not live, then after 10 minutes, it's about the visualization thing again that we started with. You've got to picture what you're doing. So you don't know where your signal's going, but you hope it's going somewhere and you know that someone's going to answer.
Yeah.
And someone eventually is going to answer. Now, by the way, if you call CQ like this, CQ, M0MCX, CQ, over.
Right. Yep.
No, wasting your breath.
That's right.
Hello, CQ. Good morning from Middle England. This is Birmingham. My name is Callum. This is M0MCX calling CQ. Hello, is there anybody there? CQ, M0MCX, over.
That is it right there. Yep. And
by the way, I'm saying things like, good morning, what my name is, where I'm calling from, I'm a happy little guy, and my God.
Well, and
somebody
the other thing too, Cal, is that so many people
I wasn't clipping then.
No, you're fine. You're fine. So many people have waterfall screens now. It shows up on those waterfalls, and they watch the waterfalls.
Right. It does, doesn't it?
Yeah. So that's really important to call it long. I do want to catch up with some folks. They've got some nice comments from Bahrain. Tom, Alpha 92 Golf Whiskey. Story time with Cal. Super.
Yeah.
Andy New, greetings from Bristol, UK. Andy's call sign. Now, he's a shortwave person. Mike Alpha Hotel 3007 SWL. And we honor shortwave and CB here as well because it's all part of radio. We do. So, Sean, 2 Echo 0, X-Ray Bravo Tango. Hi, Larry. Hi, Cal. Hi, everyone. And, these folks are just so happy. Mike 7, Union Echo Lima. That's brilliant. Well played, Callum, on the breakup, not moving frequency.
Yeah.
From Australia, going to be buying a DX Commander in the new year when I receive my inheritance. There you go.
Hey.
That works out good. Want to welcome Alan. Alan, hi there. Mike 6, Whiskey Hotel. Hello to you. as well as Sean from Central Oregon, Alpha India 7, Echo Quebec. Thank you for being here so much. Gunter in Germany says it's interesting to see band conditions improving, especially now on 40 meters. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. And then we've got from the Netherlands, Papa Charlie 4 Alpha Delta Anton. Within Romania, you could work local Romanian stations with the dipole. And that's correct. That is correct. Yeah. PL Productions with a great question. He says, would a high gain TH3JR be a good antenna to get? Can one relatively going cheap in the UK? Gosh, I would stick with a VX Commander. I just would. It's just a great antenna.
I don't know what that is. I'm going to have to look quickly at images.
Yeah, called a high gain TH3JR.
If you want a tower, let's just talk towers a minute, because that's a tower. That's a dry bander, isn't it, for a tower? I have used Yagis. I had one at the house for about 3 weeks on a tower and took it down. I'll tell you why. Because every time the wind blew, frightened the shit out of me, to be honest. I thought, if this thing comes down, something is going to break, you know.
Yeah, and bad.
And I visualize the worst. I visualize the worst. You know, I just do.
Oh man! Well, Nikolai wanted to thank you from Romania, by the way.
In reality, unless you get more than half a wavelength, you know, so for any sort of like a hex beam or anything else, that element, the top element, has to be really 40 feet, 12 meters.
Yes. Amen.
It does. On 20 meters, this is. Yep. It's got to be over half a wavelength to make it worth your while anyway.
Yep.
There's plenty of people that got a hex beam at 25, 30 feet, and they say, oh, it's lovely and great, and they love it. But they've only got one aerial.
Yeah.
They don't know what anything else can do.
Yeah.
And if you're a CQer, why do you want, unless you are very experienced, you go, I'm aiming south because I want either Spain or South Africa or something.
Sure.
You don't know where to aim it. You go, I've got all these toys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what do they say? They got all the toys. I haven't have a clue or something.
Yeah. Yep. No, you're right. And Nikolai, by the way, is call sign Yankee Oscar 8 November India Kilo. Thank you very much.
I'll tell you a funny story about a Yankee Ocean call sign.
Let's hear
Larry.
It. Yeah.
Do you want to hear it?
You know, I think we all want to hear it, especially Tom, because he said it's story time with Cal. So I think we better just go along with the flow. Go ahead.
So I was licensed for 3 or 4 months. I had an M3 call, so that was the original Foundation call in the UK. And I was talking to a guy on VHF, and he said, "Oh, we've got a 100-foot tower. It's our VHF field day, and it was like 4 miles away. Why don't you come up tomorrow? You can have a laugh." And I went, "Yeah, okay." So I went up. My God, they had some gear. They had a 2.5. I won't tell you who it was. 2,500 watts of VHF.
Oh my.
SSB.
Oh.
Phased, stacked 23 element Yagis on 2 meters.
Oh my! Wow!
And,
wow!
Talk and about there was nobody signal. Operating. They were all drinking beer and having burgers. Right? And I said, and they're all. I don't know if you've ever done that. If you've
it sounds like Gunter's old ham club in Germany. It does. Yeah. It sounds like that. Wow.
If you go to a club and you've just spent 4 hours putting this thing up, everybody just wants to sit there and go, look at that. That's amazing. Let's crack the beers open. Get the barbecue going. Just look at that. Just look, right?
That's awesome.
So I thought, well, I'll just operate. I had no idea what I was doing. And so he's called Darren, the guy showed me. He said, well, you know, put your headset on, foot switch or something, I don't know. And then just write the people, you know, in the log. It's no computers or anything. So, okay, fine. CQ, whatever the call sign was. It took a while, but obviously somebody in Europe thought, shit, this guy's not going away.
He's going to stay where he is. That's great.
So they put me on a cluster, you see. So I got on a cluster, and then other people, and people use waterfalls, but there's a lot of people. I don't use a cluster. I know I'm spotted, but anyway.
Yeah. Oh,
so
man.
I was doing quite well, you know.
Yeah.
But to me, I'd never been on VHF before, and the fact that I was getting, you know, and I'd turn the rotator a bit, you know, Papa Alpha, you know, Delta Lima stations,
wow,
Echo Alpha.
Fantastic.
On VHF, you know,
Sure.
I'm doing like 1,000 miles here, 1,000 miles there. Whatever, man, you know.
That's
I'm
how
thinking,
it
well,
goes.
This is, it's like 40 metres, this, you see. It's my Saturday morning, it's all my experience. And then I got a stream of Yankee Oceans, right?
Oh, man.
And obviously, what they were doing is because that's the furthest they'd ever had.
Sure.
You know, from here to Romania on 2 meters is quite a big deal,
It's
actually.
a long haul.
For me, I didn't give a shit. I just thought, whatever, really.
That's fine.
I mean, it's
Nice
like
to meet
40
you.
meters,
Thanks for
isn't
coming
it?
to the show. That's great.
But obviously, they were phoning their mates.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
because you do that, don't you? You've got a friend of
Absolutely.
yours who's keen on SSB. You go, I've just had a G station.
Yeah.
He's on 14,325 or 144,325.
Yeah, he's on 2 meters. Check
and then
this out.
the next Yankee Ocean, so I had this stream of YOs coming in, you see. Anyway, after about an hour, I thought, well, I'll have a beer now and one of those burgers, you know. How'd you get on?
Exactly right.
And I remember the guy walking outside with the logbook going, look what he's just done. And they're going, Yankee Ocean. Oh, God. But anyway,
Callum
you see, if you
McCormick
don't
live.
call... Yeah. If you
From
don't call,
DX
nobody's going to
Commander.
come anyway. You know what I
That's
mean?
brilliant. That's just a brilliant story. Want to welcome Samantha Collins, 2 Echo 1, Oscar Charlie Tango. Thanks. Also, Mower Junkie's here from South Carolina. He's a CB guy, and we're grateful he came. Mower Junkie, thanks for coming from the Carolinas. It's great to see you. Lars Christensen, hello from OZA. His call sign, Oscar Zulu 8, Alpha Alpha Hotel. Name is Lars.
Nice.
Thanks for being here, mate. Good to see you. Also, Jim Fats, first time being here. He says, thinking of buying a DX Commander, but have issues with permanent antennas. What are the trade-offs with going with a SOTA/POTA version?
The only reason, and you would know this, Larry, you go for the half-size one, which is still the same height.
Yep.
It's just shorter. You get less bands, and it's easier to throw in your truck.
Yeah, and you know, the
That's
DX
the
Commander
only difference.
Classic, I mean, I've got mine for 80. Mine works great on 80 meters. I just use an inverted
go
L.
with 80.
Just works
Go
in
with
an
a
inverted
classic, honestly, every time. Unless, like me, you know, we're stuck for room in the car. I've got the 2 dogs and Wendy and all her handbags and stuff.
L. Yeah.
And then I used to put a classic in. I just put an expedition in now. Because in the main, I'm only after 40, 20, 17, well, 15 and 10. That's what you got in the expedition.
Mm-hmm.
You can swap out 17 maybe for 80. I'm
Sure.
about to do that on Friday, actually, for CQ World. Because I got the expedition up now.
Mm-hmm.
I call it SOTA/POTA, but I call it expedition. It's great for like someone like Rowley who's gone on an aircraft. Trouble is with a 4-foot-long pole, they think what is this, a bloody bazooka or something? Let me tell you about my first ever DX, okay?
Yeah.
I had on CB, it was called a Lafayette HB 940. It was like a 4-watt AM rig, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
And what we used, because when you're a CBer, you are fascinated with SWR, aren't you? I mean, SWR is like, you know, SWR.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
It's like, oh, I've got SWR, man. You know, I've got no SWR.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd go down to channel 1 with your little inline SWR meter. You'd key up, wouldn't you? Go reflect, click, key again. Oh, yeah, 1 to 1. Then you go to channel 40. You go click. Yeah, that's all working. Click. Yeah, 1 to 1. Oh, antenna's working great, you know. So I'm on channel 1 and I'm going click, click. And then someone else is doing the same. And I can see the meter going.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
And it went.
Great. That's great. Yeah. Yep.
I went to.
Do that noise again. There you go. Well done, Callum McCormick. Thank you.
AM carrier, isn't it? So
Yeah, that's right.
Are you checking your SWR, are you?
That's funny.
And it's this voice comes back, goes, "Yeah, I've just got the linear running here. Let's see if we can get into Europe today."
Yeah, exactly. The big voice. Thank you very much for coming.
Right. So
Nikolai
that's
said,
cool.
thanks for the suggestion. Got an interesting point. I want to get back to this. This is really important. From PL Productions, he says, I have a P40 tower in concrete back garden, so I can't use radials. Any suggestion? He's got a Versatower P40 is what he says he has.
You
Any
can use
thoughts there,
radials.
mate?
If you watch my video on in Cornwall for about 2 weeks ago, my radials are only 3 meters,
Yeah,
and
see,
9
I
feet
think you
long.
can do it.
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me tell you that story, right? Are you checking your SWR? And this guy comes back. Bearing in mind, I'm in England. He goes, "Yeah, we're just firing the linear up here and see if we can get into Europe today." And I went, "What's a funny accent?" You know, I went, "Oh, right. So, for start off, what's a blooming linear, you know?" I went, "Oh, okay." And he goes, "So where are you?" I went, "Oh, I'm in," I'm thinking, nobody asked me where I am because it's illegal in the UK. So, Darlington Street. Darlington Street. Yeah, I've never heard of that before. So where's that? Oh yeah, it's Darlington Street in Bath. Bath in England. Yeah, that's right. Hey man, hey brother, you got Texas here. So that was my 4 watts AM. 4
That
watts
is so
AM.
awesome. That is so awesome.
That's course on 11 meters.
That's
You don't
great.
need, because these guys who, I mean, the modern radios, the ham radios, like 7300s, you got to remember, driving 11 meters between 12 and 10 is not good for the radio, right? Because you talk to the ham radio dealers, some of these new transmit filters, they're not happy on 11. You can open it up to 11.
Yeah.
It's not happy. They're blowing the bloody things up, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
So you want to do, I've got a CB, and I'll be plumbing that in. It does 12 watts SSB, you know, a standard CB.
Yeah.
12, and I'll be using that on a DX Commander because I'm going to swap out the 12 meter element for an 11. You see,
Good for you. Yeah. It'll be brilliant.
and then our big switch on the wall goes CB. Click.
There you
And
go.
I'll use a CB radio for CB and ham radio for ham. 'Cause
Absolutely.
if you start using, because we weren't doing 100 watts in the old days, we were doing 4 watts or 12 watts or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And that's fine, you know. Just so to me, the tragedy is people are using 100 watts, 1,000 watts, 2,000 watts on CB, and that kind of ruins the fun of what CB for me anyway. I'm
Amen.
not saying,
Yes, I
you know,
agree. I agree.
It's whatever.
Yep. It's
Anyway.
something. It's it's just important, and we mentioned this on a show we did on CB recently where, making contact for people on CB is just as big as it is for people on ham radio. It is.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Got a neat comment from Norway for you. Anders Kyle, I have a question. I just found one video of baby loop antenna on YouTube where someone was using it. Magnetic loop, are they any good?
Right, well, Mike-M0MSN, who's my friend, I speak to nearly every day. In fact, when I call him on the phone, he now goes, "Hello, darling." And I can hear his wife in the background going, "Is that your man, wife?"
Oh, boy.
He's a big mag loop man. I don't know anything about mag loops. All as I know, it's very easy to blow them up because there's some very high voltages knocking around.
Yep.
So there's Tim, G5TM. He's just popped in there.
Yep. Also, PL Productions got the right. All the gear and no idea. That's the point.
That's the one,
That's
yeah.
the comment. Yeah.
I loved CB. I loved CB when it was 4 watts, little rig, nice and easy. You start wanting a big station, go down the ham route.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's I just can't. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, and I don't like to use chicken bed. I hate that word. I hate it because people in CB enjoy their hobby just as much as we do ours. And the same thing with shortwave listeners. People who pick up long wave stations and shortwave stations, that's a big deal. And it's just as exciting for all of them.
Of course it is.
Andy Bronson
Very exciting.
from UK. CQ Worldwide isn't this weekend. It's following weekend, I think 30th and 31st. That's correct. Dave Pecoraro from Arizona. Fun stories. Great show, Dave. Whiskey Bravo 4, Oscar Romeo Charlie. Thank you. And Tim as well, mate. Golf 5 Tango Mike. Thanks for being here. It's great to see you. Wow.
Tim's one of the UK creators.
Is he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
And
Well, Tim,
Anton,
glad to have him.
PC4AD. Anton is on my. He's always got a nice comment. There we are.
Yeah, that's
I know
nice to
Anton.
have. Anton with a nice comment says, some people say life's too short for QRP, but it certainly does make it more exciting. I totally agree with that. QRP is a kick in the rear end. It's fun when you make a call at 2.5 watts or 5 watts, 10 watts. It's amazing. It really is. Callum, what, in your lifetime since you've been a ham, what's been your most favorite moment?
I would say the most startling moment. The moment where I thought, I planned this and it's worked. Twice this has happened. First time I took my TS990S, because I've had that since it was new out, you know. And it was a boys' weekend, and they're all going mountain climbing, and they're all out for the day. And I thought, brilliant, so you do that, right, and I'll sit. I got a funny story about that weekend, actually. And I'll sit with my radio, and I put up, what did I put up? An SG230, and it was a doublet. There we are.
Okay.
Off the top, I just threw it up over the tree.
Sure.
So it wasn't very high. And as it got dark, and they were all out, it's the first night because they hadn't arrived. And it was about 7 o'clock, and I'd looked at all the charts and the maps and the grey lines and everything else, and I thought, I'm going to call CQ between 7 and 9, and I'm going to get a VK, which for us is about as best we can get, because that is literally the other side of the world.
Sure.
And I'll get that short path at night, you know, and I just called and called and called. I mean, I put people in the log. By the way, I'm not one of these people who goes, CQ DX, only DX, right? Because that actually doesn't get you anywhere. What gets you where is you cause a bit of a pile-up, or you just cause a bit of a storm, just regular callers, and you'll soon hear the DX. You don't have to ignore the guy from 400 miles away. Just put him in the log.
That's right.
I'm just saying there's only DX tonight. Thanks, John. All the best. Bye-bye.
Yep. Agree.
How easy is that?
Absolutely.
You don't need to go CQDX, only DX. You hear these guys, don't you? They'll call for 2 hours, nobody calls them, and they go away. Oh, what a lot of fun that must have been.
Sure,
right?
Exactly. Waste time. Tom Rowlands, welcome to the channel, as well as
Tom's
Rod.
on, is he?
Yeah, Tom's here, as well as
Good friend of mine.
Rod.
Tom's a military man. He's on assignment at the moment, or whatever they call it. When
Thank
you're
you for
military,
your service, Tom. Thank you sincerely. Wow. Rod
He's
Bish
a
is here
colonel.
from Pennsylvania.
He's a genuine colonel. How about
Is he
that,
really?
Larry?
Holy mackerel, the colonel's in the
I
house.
know. He's got the colonel.
It's awesome. Rod Bish, whiskey 3 miles per gallon, enjoying the conversation. Callum, Larry, thank you. Sean, 2 Echo 0, X-Ray Bravo Tango, doublet. Tim is his real name. That's for sure. Well, you know.
So you asked me this question. So I got that VK. I visualised it and got it. And then we were down at Slapton Sands with 1.5 meters. So what's that? It's about 5 feet. It's a regular whip on the car, you know, with a big loading coil. You know, it's just a bought antenna, you know, 100 watts. And I said to Wendy, I'm going to drive down to the beach because it was about a mile away. And I'm going to do a couple of hours. And I'll live stream on my 4G phone and all that stuff. And I got CQ, and I got some Lima station, which I asked to stand by because there was a Papa Alpha a bit stronger who was easy to get. But what I was telling, it was the ZL. So this is the other side of the world.
South
right?
Africa, wow. No,
for
New
me,
Zealand.
ZL is New Zealand, yeah. And I'm telling him to shut up because I've got Papa Alpha on the line, you know. But he was up the road.
That's great.
And then because I'm live streaming, I played it back. He's going, you know what? The real DX is kind of morphs, doesn't it? No, Zulu Lima. And I'm, oh, fine, ZL. Good Lord. And there's me with a pipsqueak station, 1.5 meter whip, down on the beach. I'm getting into ZL, you know, and that was on the live stream as well, which makes it even more fun.
That
doesn't
does.
it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That gave me a bit of a confidence kick, you know.
No kidding. I want to
But
welcome
again,
Go ahead.
sorry.
I want to welcome
again,
a good
Larry,
mate here because we've got a VK in the house, Glenn Stevenson. Hi,
Oh,
Cal
hi,
and
Glenn.
Larry. How do you guys stop cockatoos chewing through coaxial cable? Bury it.
Move to England, mate. Move to England.
mate. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go, Glenn. Good to see you. And I hope your parents are well, Glenn. Hope the very best for your parents. So, and Tim, Larry does great context every day, guys. So just in case you've not checked on his channel, you know what. Oh, that's really nice. Tim, thank you. That means a lot to me. Thank you. I just do this to give back and help people. So thank you very, very much. Cal, any hope for the future still? You got lots of stuff that you're doing. What would you like to accomplish here with your not only YouTube career, but also your products? Because, I mean, I've never bought an antenna that is so cheap, that is, meaning cheap in price, as you say, cheap as chips, that is so well built. I mean, it comes with all the wire, comes with really nice spreaders. You've got amazing pole. The pole just almost puts itself together.
Yeah.
Any ideas for the future that you're looking at that you'd like to do?
Okay, well, the first thing is I could easily put the price up and make more money. And in fact, our prices have gone up. Our buy prices have gone up for everything.
Absolutely.
Nuts, bolts, washers, aluminium, and everything. But we make enough, you see. So I don't need to, because our turnover's gone up, our costs have gone up, the cost of all the products have gone up, but there's still enough to pay me, Wendy, and my son, who I pay a good wage to, because of the extra business, because of the YouTube channel and everything. So what do I want to achieve? I just want enough money to be happy.
That's cool.
When I say happy, money doesn't make you happy, because Wendy and I were talking about this the other day. She remembers when we were stone broke. The company owed £300,000, and we had an overdraft of £80,000.
Oh.
So that's gotten on for $500,000 in the red.
Wow.
And I remember saying to her, I'll trade out of it. I'll just trade. And I did. Took me about 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I was doing stuff to make 50 quid on the side. You know, the company didn't know this. You know, my employees, I still would go in my suit, and luckily I'd paid for the car, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's nice. Nice to have transportation, right?
Paid real money for that. And I just very slowly, year by year, traded out the whole thing. Technically, we were insolvent, but I didn't have it in me to wind up the company.
Good for you.
I just thought we'll just trade out of it. I mean, Peter and Paul's still getting paid. Some months Peter would get paid, and some months Paul wouldn't, if you know what I mean.
No.
But everybody got their money, and I traded out of it, and we cut our cloth. So that meant no shoes, no jeans, no shirts, no ties, no toys for years, really.
Oh boy.
So when you've been there, and I have, by the way, I really have. I've been effectively bankrupt, well, twice. Is to have money, some money, not a lot, some money in the bank, and to come home, happy, smiley faces, everybody's happy, you know.
Yeah.
Then that's, you know, just a few dollars in the bank. I don't need a lot, you know. I just want a few dollars in the bank. And because we like a takeaway restaurant food on a Saturday, you know, so we don't have to.
Nice
so
to
when
celebrate something, sure.
You know, I like a gin and tonic most evenings, so that's nice to be able to buy a bottle of gin every now and again.
Okay.
And the dogs are happy, and there we are. The house is never going to be paid for. We've got a mortgage on this house. I'm 62, and it's only half paid. I'll never pay it off, so we'll just have to sell it and downsize one day.
There you go. Yeah. I want to welcome Kjell Yarsted from Norway. Kjell, thanks for coming. Also, Lujan Sherman is here. He asks a question of you, Cal. Will a DX Commander work in a garden that is covered with paving stones instead of grass? Greetings from Holland, Papa Delta 7, Lima Juliet.
Yeah, it does. People have done it. There's a guy who actually works at Holly Farm, funnily enough, where my factory is, who's a ham, and he does that in, I think, Malta. He puts it on an umbrella stand, and he's just got 16, 9, 10 foot, 3 metre long radials. He just scatters them out. What you can do is get clever and actually put them down the paving slab before you mortar them in.
There you go. Yeah. They're hidden away. They're good to go. That's a good way to do it. Live with Callum McCormick, DX Commander Antennas, and we've been honored to have him on. Boy, we've been running an hour and 14. That's fantastic.
I think we ought to start think about winding up, Larry.
I think we should. Cal,
I've got to
any
eat.
last comments for folks here on YouTube today?
Yes, I was wrong about the end of about CQ Worldwide. It is not this weekend. It is the weekend after.
It's okay. It's okay.
And I also think this microphone is blooming amazing.
It is. Yeah. Yeah.
What microphone have you got there? It looks like a...
Just had a...
was that a
rotator cuff
27 as
replacement.
well?
Yeah, same thing. So
Okay.
we were both sharing the same exact microphone, so there you go. Yeah, same mic. And it's beautiful. It's
I
got
don't
3
think they can
filters
see
on
you,
it.
can they? Because you've just got me on the screen.
No, I just popped myself up real quick. So, yeah, they can see my
Okay,
dad-in-law there, and we can see the microphone. 3 nice filters on that. If you're looking for a really cool mic, even for your rig, man, these work great. Electro Voice is an amazing company. There's a reason why most of them are used in radio and television. Yep.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, Cal, thank you for coming today. Thank you for your time, on a Wednesday there. And thank Wendy for us, too. Would you please, for, sharing you with us?
She's out tonight.
You got away with it. There you go. Live with Cal McCormick, DX Commander. Please take a look at his website. Cal, what's your website again? Share it with people.
It's just my call sign. We've got dxcommander.com. It's not ready. So you go there, I think it's a redirect, or it just goes
Mike in Jacksonville saying, no, keep going. Ian Justice.
M0MCX.co.uk is where you buy the products. But, let's not do that.
Yeah. How is by the way, Ian Justice
Just go to the
asks,
YouTube channel, DX Commander. It's fun.
Yeah. Ian Justice asks, how is the new DX wire?
Okay. So, for those of you who don't know, we did a stock take the other day, and Lockie counted 147 reels of DX10. And it's super soft, lovely wire. And I'm writing this down. I'm going, how many? 147. And then I did the numbers in my head, and I thought, it's about 8 weeks' worth. Not a problem. I'll get in touch with the factory, place another order for another, because we're buying by the 1,000. Okay? So that's 100,000 meters, 100 kilometers at a time, 60 miles. There we are. And they said, it's 18-week wait. 18 weeks.
Gosh.
Because we can't get, something, I don't know. And there's only 2 companies in the UK that can not only make the copper, but they put the jacket on as well. Mm-hmm. 2 companies. I only found out this.
Really?
I've been on this, yeah.
Only 2 in the entire country? Wow.
Country, yeah.
Wow.
A lot of people make wire, and but what I didn't realise is they outsourced the PVC coating to one of these 2 companies.
Whoa.
One of the companies that I'm dealing with is the other one, and I found the other company as well. So I found both companies because I thought you might as well deal with the horse's mouth. Is that the right expression? I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Anyway, and they're in Manchester, and they said, okay, we just can't fit you in. But I got in touch with the owner, who's like 173 years old, something, called David. I found him on LinkedIn, and I did a connect request and sent a message.
73 years old.
Or maybe a bit older. But anyway, and I said, hello, David. My name's Callum. I own a pipsqueak company, but my wife, my son, and I all work in it. And if we don't have your wire, I can't ship my products, and I'm going to go bankrupt. I thought I'd just lay it on the line.
Yeah, make it thick,
right?
Yeah, put some frosting on that cake.
So he said, oh, you want to speak to my son, who's a lot younger. I think he's about 120. And who is the managing director. He's the president, So
he
and
doesn't
he
move
copied
fast,
it.
but he's a president.
That's right. The president of the company then, not the owner, said, hello, Callum. Yeah, fine. Yes, okay. We got these problems, that problem, the other problem. I understand where you're coming from. I'll try and sort of squeeze, I'll get hold of, production and, just say, look, there's a VIP customer over here and see what you can do for him.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I'll get sales to talk to you about another wire that I know we've got like a warehouse full of that might be suitable. So they sent me a 100 meter, 328.6 feet, whatever, of wire. It's very slight. It's the same amount of copper. It's exactly the same copper. It's actually tinned.
Perfect. That's all right.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
And with the jacket, it's if you don't know, DX10 kind of hasn't got any memory at all. It just goes straight again.
Yeah.
This is has got a tiny bit more memory, if you know what I mean, in the jacket.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I've strung my Expedition with it this week, and it's doing fine. So
That's great.
what I'm going to do is, because they've got like 2,000 reels of this in stock, so I'll place probably an order for 300 to keep us going, and then because at the moment I've restricted everybody to 1 reel each.
Sure.
So even if I've reduced the price, but
Best
just to kind of spread it out as long as possible. But as soon as this arrives, I'll put it back up, and I'll just have to put a disclaimer that it's not DX10, it's DX10R or something. Actually, the temperature rating is very slightly higher, which is why the PVC jacket is slightly tougher.
Yeah.
So instead of being minus 40 to 70, this is 10 centigrade, 10 minus 10 to 80 or something.
Fantastic. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
Anyway.
a great story. Cal, thanks for sharing that one. That's good. All right. Well, we have had a great time, and YouTube is still standing. So, either we did something wrong or it was a good show. So we thank you all for coming today. I do want to say goodbye to you, Cal. I'll be here just a moment. We always, we do honor people both in ham, shortwave, CB, everything DX. It's just fun. Radio. It's about radio here. So we want to thank you for taking the time on a Wednesday night. Thanks for being here, buddy. Thank you. All right. Join us, please, on Saturday at 20 UTC. Yep, Saturday at 20 UTC. We will have this man. His name is Martin F. Jew. He's the founder of MFJ. He's got his 49th year this month. Please join us for that. 20 UTC. That's noon Pacific in North America, 3 p.m. in the Eastern time zone. I'd like to thank Callum McCormick from DX Commander for joining us. Until next time, my name's Larry. My call sign is Kilo 7 Hotel November. The very best to you and your family. God bless you and goodbye, everybody.
And I'm afraid that's all from Radio 4 for the time being. Not for long, though. I'll be back with you at 5:45. But you don't have to switch off your radio now, because our long-wave and medium-wave frequencies will be carrying the programmes of the BBC World Service until we return. Enjoy your weekend, and do join us again if you can. This is Jenny Lane wishing you a very good night. Good night.